In this video, we'll talk about parent-to-child communication using non-primitive data type, which means array or object or array of object. So in this also we'll pass the data, but this time the data will be non-primitive and the approach will be the same. @API decorator will cache the data and we'll use that data to show something on the screen. But this time only the data type is changed. Okay, that is a complex data. So let's go to our VS Code. And for this example, also I'm going to use the same parent component that we built in previous example. Only the child component I'm going to change. Okay, so the child component that we're going to use this time is, let's create that. I'll say parent to child carousel component. So earlier we create the alert component. This time we're going to build the carousel component. The default path, and it's created the component. So as name suggests, we're going to build the carousel component. So let's go and find the code for carousel component. So first thing, there is a component library given by Salesforce. Click on component reference. In the quick find, you just type carousel and it will show you the carousel. We'll go with the basic carousel. Okay. Or we can search with anything without auto scroll. If you don't want your carousel to be automatically scroll, you can go with the disable auto scroll and you just gonna copy paste the whole code that is inside the carousel tag. Copy this and come back to our VS Code. Inside the carousel component HTML, we're gonna paste our component. Okay, and we'll just wrap our component with a card and the margin, little bit margin. So I'm just creating the card, lightning card. These things you already know, that's why I just copy paste. So if you don't know, you can watch my previous videos. So I created the card with the title parent to child, non-primitive data communication, and I'm giving the margin around the card. Okay, so I'll copy paste all the carousel. I'll just cut and paste it in between the div, and now our card is ready, the child carousel card. And I'll go and embed this component into my parent component, and we already know how to embed this. What we're gonna do is, so this component should not touch each other components, so I'll add some margin bottom. SLDS variable margin bottom of medium size. Okay, and below this I'll call my another component that we just built, that is carousel, and to call this D2C carousel component and just embed it. So till now I just copy paste the code of the carousel into the child component and just calling the child component and embed it into the parent component. That's it. So let's deploy this component and see whether the carousel is coming on the screen or not. Right now I'm not passing anything to my carousel component from the parent component. So if you go to the org or refresh the page, you will see a second card is coming and it has different images. This is our carousel component. Now I want this data, whether it's an image or the heading or the description, to go from parent to child, right? And these are multiple, so it definitely be an array of objects. So let's create the data. So I'll go to my JS carousel component. I'll just take this data that is required by the carousel image and I'll come to my parent component. I'll create the carousel data. So create the data, I need a variable for a property. I'll say carousel data. It should be array of object because there are many. Whenever there are many, you always use with the array of object. I'll say source one property. I need a source. Source should be this. Then we need the second property as header. The header should be first card. Then I need description, and we can say first description. So basically I don't need other things for time being. I just created the property carousel data. In that I created array of objects. Object will work in key value pair. So source is the key, value is the URL, header is the key, first card is the value, description is the key, and the first description. So now I'll just copy paste this thing 3 times, and I'll change it to second card, and this is second card, this is third card, and this is our complex data actually. If you look into the, and mainly from Apex you're gonna get the data in this format only. And I'll change the image numbers as well to 2 and 3. Okay, now I want to pass this data down to my child. I'll say okay, you want to pass something, first you should have an attribute or a public property into the child component. So we go here and we'll say carousel details. Okay, and right now it's a private property. To make it public you need @API, and the API should be imported from LWC package. And then your name is carousel details. It should come here, it should write in the HTML attribute format, carousel details. Then you have to assign the data, and the data is inside the JS file of the parent in the property carousel data. We'll just map that property name here, so immediately it caches the data and it will reach to the property. And now I want this property to be used to display the HTML, right? So I'll gonna use the for each looping. We already know how the loop work. Within the lightning carousel I'm gonna call template. I'm gonna use for each loop. On which array you want to run? I want to run on the carousel details. I want to run the loop on the carousel details, and each item I want to call it as item, and within this loop I'll place our carousel image. Now it's showing an warning because each property should have a unique key attribute, and we can say item dot. If I look into the data, what thing is unique? My header is all unique, so I can say item dot header. Then we have to map the source, so I can say item dot rc, and then I have header. I can say item dot header. Then I have description. I can say item dot description. For time being we don't need this because we haven't defined these values. So now I loop my carousel image. We are receiving the data from the parent and we are looping it, and it should work as it is, and the complex data is passed so easily. And I showed you how I create the complex data as well, and real time also. If you are building carousel, it's gonna work like this only. Okay, so let's go and deploy this. So the component is deployed. Let's refresh the page, and now you can see that it's working totally fine. It's showing first card, second card, second description, third card, third description, and first card, first description. So this is how you pass the complex data or the non-primitive data from parent to the child. And I showed you with the both real-time examples how you gonna create the alert in real time, how you gonna create the carousels in real time. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.